Once you master a 2-thread overlock stitch, you'll probably use this more than you realize. Number one, it only takes 2 threads. So what are we talking about? We're going to talk about, we're starting with a rolled hem that instead of using 3 threads, we are doing 2 threads. We're going through all the videos on the BERNINA L890. You can find the links to the complete playlist of all the free video tutorials down in the description. But here we're going to talk about ways that you can get a lighter, like literally a lighter finish on the fabric. Now what this was originally is just, you know how you can buy ribbon on a spool, and what I did was I needed it to kind of match my color scheme I was working with. So I added a 2-thread rolled hem or narrow edge here to each side of the ribbon, and then I actually gathered it and then did a decorative stitch down the middle. But that's a whole nother class. That's what we get to do in our Stitching Cosmos online course if you're wanting to learn more about your sewing machine. But with this particular stitch, every time I show this in my classes, my students are amazed at the feel of it. If you have a scarf, so you're working with a really lightweight fabric and you don't want to put that 3-thread edge because it almost feels like it'd be too heavy, this is the stitch you want. So where are we? We have actually already removed the left needle from the machine because the last thing I did was actually a rolled hem. So here's what we need to do first. First, let's go, actually, you know what? I'm going to go back to guided mode so we can go through each step individually. Your overlock stitch you want, now again, if you don't want to scroll up, because it is stitch 10 we're going for, you can go over to where the pictures are and you can get to stitch 10 a lot quicker. So once you start realizing which stitches you use the most, you'll be able to go right to the stitch and be reminded how to set it up. So stitch 10, raise the presser foot, start there. We need to actually unthread the blue upper looper. So the key with this stitch is you're actually only using the lower looper and 1 needle. Keep in mind, if you want a wide version, you're going to use the left needle. And if you want a narrow version, you're going to use the inside needle or the right needle. So first thing it says is to unthread the color blue. So I'm going to just reach up. I'm going to just clip it, but I am always, remember my tip is to always take the spool off that you're no longer using. We have the correct foot on. Pressure is set to 4. That's way up here. I love these step by step. It reminds me we are using the right needle to get the narrower look. So that is already in here. Knife is engaged. Cutting width at 6, that is kind of right down here below the free arm. I can see that it's right at 6. That's the default number anyway. Attach the knife cover, which is what you're set up for if you're already in the overlock mode, and the upper looper is activated. Okay, here is the key to a 2-thread. So it says hook in upper looper converter. So if you touch the little video, it is going to bring up the little place. This part here, I'm going to show you close up, but it's going to swing into position and allow the machine to think that there's thread in the upper looper. Remember, there's not going to be thread there, but this is how it will help bring the thread over the edge by using just 1 looper and 1 thread in it. So it's super easy. Okay, so we'll just X out of here. And let me zoom in. Let's see, last thing, we do need to set the rolled hem selection to 0. But if you are doing a rolled hem, you can also bring it to R. So there's like multiple ways to do this. Just the micro thread control, we're threading the green right needle and the red lower looper. And we're about ready to get this particular stitch. So in years past, this was always an attachment you had to like add on to the upper looper, but on this machine, it's actually just sitting right here. So if you've ever wondered what this is, and technically it's supposed to be kind of hidden off to the side, I noticed mine was kind of up in play, but it didn't interfere with anything. But what you are going to do is just give it a little push towards the back because it actually sits into the back of the eye of the upper looper. Everything really stays the same. So other than that, we are ready to start stitching. If you have any of the blue thread still in the machine, once you clip it and remove it out, and let's go ahead and see what this stitch is actually going to look like. So as you can see, you get the red thread or the lower looper thread kind of wrapping around the edge. For fun, let's just do it with the rolled hem stitch finger kind of pulled out of the way. and so you can really see it. And why don't we go ahead, I'm going to just touch the screen, and we're going to reduce the stitch length down to like 1.3. So then you can see what it looks like for a really nice, like this would be where I do with a scarf or such. Okay, so see the difference. It really puts a nice edge all the way around, but it's the same thread on the back as it is on the front. So this is good for number one, not weighting down the fabric. Plus, if you ever have where you just have two spools of thread that really match your fabric, and you didn't want to fudge and do like a bobbin for the needle thread, which by the way, my needle thread, which is usually so hidden, it can almost match your fabric color here. And being that this one is kind of my lime green or a little chartreuse in there, it kind of matches this gold, and really, you really can't see it at all. But it is such a great edge. Again, you can adjust the stitch length and then also adjust the cutting width. So you can determine how much fabric is being squeezed into these edges. So if it's not lying perfectly flat, you can totally get it to where you want it to be. Now again, remember, when you're done, push that stitch finger back in, because probably what you're going to do next is a construction seam, and you will want to not forget that part. But remember, with those step-by-step directions, with every stitch you change to, you are going to find it is super easy to not miss a step. I think that was the biggest thing with sergers and why people kind of get hung up or not realize what they did wrong. You miss one little setting, and the stitch doesn't turn out right, and you wonder why. With this machine, it is practically flawless. So I hope you give some tries. With the 2-thread options, you'll notice on screen there's actually 2-thread overlock, 2-thread flat lock, 2-thread rolled hems, and you can choose all the different ways of doing a 2-thread. And don't forget, you can use your needle in the right position or the left position for a 2-thread. So if I'm using like a thicker fabric, I might enjoy a wider version of that 2-thread and use the left needle instead. I hope you're enjoying all these videos on the BERNINA L890. Give this channel a like and do thumbs up on the videos that you really find useful, and check out all the videos in order that you can watch with the BERNINA L890 free video playlist on YouTube.